Hey guys, happy Sunday with Satan. So, are you guys having a good weekend? Maybe? Hopefully. I hope. Alright, so today I wanted to go over, I gave you guys the ritual for calling the mighty dead, but I didn't give you any kind of background information because there is, a little bit of misinformation about ancestors, kind of floating around out there. So this is really good information, and this, comes from treading the mill, so I just kind of, took my notes, and I just take my notes and, put it in my grimoire, and, everything that pertains to traditional Cornish witchcraft is, so, the mighty dead, the ancestors and the mighty dead. So, there's just so much confusion about it, and this is fun. There's some funny parts in here, so. Alright, so traditional practitioners have always been associated with the dead in one way or another in popular imagination. So, whether that be a barbaric, necromantic rite at All Hallows, or using, dead body parts and spells and rituals for nefarious purposes. So, no, that's not us. Obviously, the majority of these tales are purely fantasy, but they do contain a core of truth. So there's always a core of truth within the literal, what they think to be literal, when it's not literal, metaphysical, or, the other word. Now, Truecrafters have always retained a link with their departed kin, always. Be that of their actual bloodline or that of the particular tradition or land. Now, indeed, most consider that they are not departed at all, but hear what that's all the time. And that's what I think. I don't believe in the veil. I don't believe there's a veil. It's here. They're here, always. So, now that by that, he says, I do not mean that they float around us invisibly waiting to be summoned in spiritualistic rites, but that in a sense that they never leave us at all. So again, that's, within the heart, your hearts, your memories, your brain, your body. They're your ancestors, literal, physical, or, biological, or, otherwise. It is part of craft lore that the dead do not necessarily depart to some, fixed other world, so there to await rebirth or whatever, but became part and parcel of the land around us. And that is literally, this earth, literally, think about how many people have died. Think about that, and what we're living on, literally, everywhere. So it's inescapable. Now they merge with the spirit or body of the land and become almost indistinguishable from nature spirits or beings that inhabit the generally unseen realm inside the world around us. So they're very, very, there's tales that say, the ancestors are the fairy folk. Some of them may be. I don't know. I honestly don't know that one. So, now, here they perform their allotted tasks, be that as a guardian of a place, intermediary between the worlds, advisor to an individual person or family, overseer of a particular area, or what have you, until it's time for them to move on to follow whatever, destiny has been laid down for them. Now, that's really interesting, too. That's a really interesting concept. Now, in times gone by, the ancestors were venerated for their abilities and use to the living, and they still are, very much so. Just go to the Catholic Church, and kaboom, there you go. Now, many of the so-called burial mounds that are to be found in the British Isles and elsewhere are misnamed, as they were actually places where the living could come and actually visit and interact with the dead, asking them on advice various matters, asking their help with the various problems and to renew ties with old and new family members. Now, indeed, in many cases, the new members were, and are in family traditions, considered to be the ancestors returning to their own clan or family, and were welcomed as much. So that's comforting, is that you have a little, a sense of comfort within these words. It's apart from Christianity, this is probably the most comforting part about traditional craft, is the ancestors not ever leaving us. So, now in certain very specific instances, people choose, or were chosen, to give up this physical life, to deliberately die, to merge with the land at a specific place or site, to act as intermediaries between this world and the other world. Now for the tribe or people in that area, and to act as guardians, mediating the energies of the two worlds, usually for a fixed period of time. See, I've heard numerous things about reincarnation. It takes like 30 to 40 years before, an ancestor will reincarnate, so, I don't know. I don't know about that anymore. Now, however, once merged with the land, or a specific site, our sense of time has no meaning to them, and many are still active, if you know how to approach them. So such individuals are sometimes known as, individuals are sometimes known as burial chiefs or burial kings, who may be interacted with at their specific burial mounds or tombs. So this is a difficult and potentially dangerous operation. Now, another aspect of ancestral lore is that pertaining to the master men and women, those who have gone on to become part of what's sometimes known as the hidden company. There's always hidden company. So these are witches who have achieved great knowledge, experience, and power, whilst in physical life, who have afterwards remained available for others of their group, lineage, family, or tradition to call upon. So they act as guides, teachers, guardians, and observers for those of their line, and can sometimes be seen as vague or more solid shapes around the edge of the compass during ritual. And yeah, they come. You will see them. I do, anyway. So they may be called upon in times of need to aid the individual crafter or a whole group, taken action on their own initiative to safeguard the knowledge, lore, and secret things of their own tradition. Unless you have been given admission into a particular craft lineage, these are not beings that you are likely to meet often, or at all, unless the hidden company of the craft in general decides to take an interest in you. So that's why I like it, because part of the traditional craft still stays hidden. It's still mysteries to be unlocked. So I'm the guardians and the watchers and the teachers and the people that have gone before us. I really think that they are helping to keep it alive and in a way underground, which I really like. I like that because I don't think everybody should have the secrets of a particular faith or a religion like traditional witchcraft. Okay, anyways, where did I go? I don't know where I went. Oh, so contact with the ancestors, and particular beings like the mighty dead or master crafters, is not undertaken lightly, not at all, or for frivolous reasons. It is not done because we can. It is done to further our knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and experience, because as serious practitioners we do not, other than call on those who have gone before for their aid. Once merged with the land, time, as previously stated, takes on a completely different meaning, and all the things are open for them to see. So the rites and rituals of yore, the knowledge of what went before, and the wisdom of our forebears is all merged with them too. So this knowledge may be tapped for our own advancement if we know how. In yesterday's ritual, calling out to the mighty dead, that was that ritual, tapping the bone. So, however, make no mistake, questions such as where did Aunt Lily put her best silver, cutlery, I think I said that right, kitchenware, cutting knives, will not only be treated with disdain if genuine contact is made, but may also produce serious repercussions. The dead are not to be trifled with. So, he says here, before I go on to give a couple of the particular practical suggestions for making contact with the dead ancestors, we must address the question here of what exactly or whose ancestors. Now, by talking of ancestors, he does not necessarily mean your direct lineal blood ancestors. So he says here, I asked one of my teachers whether a particularly Baptist Christian ancestor would answer the call of crafter if asked, and got told that the best person for the job would probably answer. So religion really doesn't have any, when they pass, it doesn't really have much of importance to them, unless they're stuck. So unless we belong to the family craft tradition, and maybe not even then, we are unlikely to get an answer from a witch ancestor. So if we as crafters make some call for help, it will be the person most likely, but not necessarily in our lineage, that has the most appropriate knowledge to help that will reply. So if it even happens to come from an individual, it may come from a group. So just because your great-great-uncle Fred was a witch, you wouldn't ask him to help you with a gardening question if he was a plumber. So, yeah, just don't disrespect them. So it may be that Granny Ruth, a devout Baptist, was a master gardener and can be a better helper. So religion means little to the ancestors, and they will come and go as they will. Very true. So a general call for help is better than calling on a specific individual, as they may not help at all. So following on from this, who are our individual ancestors anyway? Who are they? Who are they? We don't know. Maybe we do. If you go far enough back, we're all, in relation in some fashion, so don't be surprised at who answers your call. The important thing to remember is that if contact is made, the individual answering will be on the land you are in, literally, whether or not they are a lineal blood relative, traceable as such. So whoever, it's the land that you're going to be calling up those spirits from. Now be open to all possibilities and do not hold a blinkered view of the afterlife. You may be surprised at just who or what answers your call. So I thought that was some really interesting, information on the ancestors. And, like I said earlier, I think it was yesterday, don't, ask them, the secret recipe for, the cookies and stuff like that, because they're not really going to answer. That's not what we in the traditional craft approach the ancestors for. We respect them, we venerate them, and they live on through us and through our, honoring of them in the craft and our rituals and rites. And it's just a beautiful thing. A lot of people ask the ancestors, like, literally, like what I just said, the recipe for a missing cookie recipe, the missing ingredient for a missing, the cookie recipe, whatever. That's a pretty frivolous, question. I would use my intuition and my gut first, but yeah, if you have a really strong connection with one ancestor like I do with my grandma, it's a different story. I know she gets agitated at me for asking specific questions. Like when I did channel her recipe for, I don't know what it was, spaghetti. Her spaghetti recipe. She was like, why is this important? And now I understand why she said, why is this important? So that's why I don't, I don't go to the ancestors for these reasons. I don't ask them for recipes or anything like that. But they still will, impart that if they want to. So let them do it on their own, and go to them, when you just want to connect with them and just be with them and, just honor them and, venerate them and just, all that good stuff with the ancestors. So, alright guys, well, I hope you guys have a good Sunday with Satan. And I love you guys very, very much. I will be going through comments again. I have so much to do, it's crazy. So, I love you guys with all my heart. I hope you guys have a great and safe weekend. I don't even know what day it is. Sunday? Yeah, we have the weekend left. So, all my love, all the way from Venus, ouch, all the way back down. The arm is still sore. So, I love you guys, and thank you guys for all of your, just everything. Your love, your support, all of it. So, I'll see you guys tomorrow.